Hi ho!
Hi ho!
Way to help, Tim.
I'm doing it.
Hello and welcome to the next episode of Bad Todd Go to the Movies with special guests Tim Davis and Marie. This is the podcast where all four of us went and saw a movie at our local Regal Cinema Theater, and now we're going to talk about it in Matt's Honda Pilot right after the movie in the parking structure. We're going to talk about such things as should you see this movie, should you not see this movie, can you bring kids, should you bring a date, should you go by yourself, do you need to think the whole time, is it a thriller, do you need to pay attention, can you slack off, I don't know. We're going to talk about such things, we're going to talk about whether or not you should see it in theaters, we're going to talk about whether we liked it or not. I am Todd Dover.
And I'm Matt Malloy. Yes, welcome to our podcast. The movie we saw tonight, as you may have guessed from Todd's amazing intro and Tim's amazing help note, it was Snow White. Not the original Snow White, but the Snow White that's released here in 2025. So we're going to talk all about that and how we felt about it. But first, Tim, is there people we know in this movie?
Well, there's really only two, I would say, that are household names at this point. And I'm not even sure if Rachel Zegler, the star of this, is a household name at this point, but she's been in some big movies. Her biggest role was West Side Story, as the lead in that. And then she was in Shazam 2, and she was also in that Hunger Games prequel, but I don't know if any of us saw that. And now she's obviously Snow White in this. And then the Evil Queen, of course, is played by Gal Gadot, of course, Wonder Woman of fame, and other roles, of course, but that would be obviously what she's known for. And that's about it for big names in this movie.
Yeah, I agree. And well, what is Snow White all about, guys?
The original Disney animation.
I'm not going to tell you the story of Snow White because you likely know the story of Snow White. This movie is that story, maybe with a little political revolution thrown in for good measure. But yeah, there's not a lot.
They don't stray from it.
They don't stray too far plot-wise from the original. There are some differences, which maybe we'll get into some of that as we discuss our thoughts and feelings. We'll start with you, Todd. What are your thoughts and feelings about Snow White 2025?
So before we go forward, are we staying spoiler free? Like,
with a movie where the plot is so.
I mean, like, you know. Most people know.
We know what Snow White is about. Yes.
Yeah, I'm just curious. I'll try to fill around stuff.
I don't think we should spoil any differences. Maybe.
All right, fair enough.
Or any. There's not really significant differences.
No, they just expanded a bit.
Well, even though maybe we're not going to talk about everything, I still was not a fan of this movie. So, it just, at no point was I feeling like, man, this is good. Like, I'll say it really started rough with me with, like, the musical number of, like, we took, and my problem with it is, it's not that the music was that bad. I mean, I wasn't the biggest fan, but we took the original kind of animation movie that wasn't set in a template of beginning musical, introduction of characters, next number, like, didn't follow that pattern, and then we made a new movie where it did follow that pattern, and made it just like every other thing that has come out, and bad move, I would say, not a strong move. And I leaned over to Tim when the first musical number was going on, and I was like, man, all I can think of is Everything Is Awesome from the Lego movie, because that's all it's doing. It's like, here's our perfect kingdom, here's our perfect lives, here's some pies, here's some apples. It was like, look how great everything is and how happy we are. And I was like, oh, well, okay. Well, that's not going to last, but... So I think Rachel, is it Zegler?
Zegler, I'm not sure.
Rachel Z. I thought she did a good job. I
agree.
I didn't get the hate, and I don't understand the hate. I thought she did a fine job for what it was. I thought the movie itself was not that great. Not great script. I wasn't a big fan of the musical numbers. I was really just, I mean, and we've already joked about it already, but they made Dopey look like the Mad Magazine guy.
Alfred P. Newman.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And Grumpy looked like a gnome with a Tommy Lee Jones face, and it was just very distracting, like very, very hard to sit through some of those scenes and take them seriously.
The Uncanny Valley stuff.
Gal Gadot, I don't know, tried. She hammed it up as hammy as she could. She can't sing that well, I don't think. Maria and I both think that she can't dance based off of what we saw in this movie. I don't know. It didn't seem like... My problem with all these live action remakes is that it's not even that you change the story a little bit. I don't really care. But they don't make it better. I don't feel like we've seen a live action remake that has improved upon the source material enough to make me go, that movie's better than the original. And it's like, well, if we're not hitting these out of the park, then why are we continuing to do it? It's kind of where I'm at. Now, one could argue you don't have to go see the movie. I agree. Unless you're part of a podcast like this, then I have to. And that's the sacrifice I make for you, the masses. So I'm going to say, unless you got a kid, I mean, there's a good chance I will see this movie again in theaters because my kid's going to want to see it, I think. And I'm willing to do that for her. But if you don't have kids and you are, I don't know, on the fence, I would say unless you have a kid, don't see this movie in theaters. I don't think it's worth it. Wait for Disney Plus because you probably already own that. Go ahead and watch it. But I just wasn't a big fan. I thought I was bored through most of it. I was kind of just... I'm like, let's get to the apple here. Let's get to this. Can we just poison a lady already and let's move on? So yeah, it's not going to get a good score for me. Tim?
Well, as someone going into this who's liked most of the live action remakes, I'm not saying they replaced the originals or anything, but I've enjoyed the attempts and felt that most of them have landed in a good spot for me. I do agree that this one falls a bit short. Now, I will admit, Snow White was never one of my top favorite Disney, classic animations. It's one of the old ones. It's one of the, classic, and so many tropes come from it, and they were all played here again, and that's fine. But you're right. Something just didn't quite connect with this one, and I'm not sure why. Because like I said, it's not the fault of Rachel. I thought she owned the role. She really sang well, I thought, and they gave her she did fine. I thought she really tried to make it, well, if I'm a Disney princess, I'm gonna embrace this and run with it. I have no problem with her. I think you're right, Gal was hamming it up, and maybe some of her acting deficiencies showed in this, but, when you get to play an evil queen, you just go for it. And I thought she did, and I don't fault her for that either. The movie itself, cinematography looked good. Some of the new songs weren't very catchy or knowable, I would say, and didn't really stand out to me. You're waiting to hear Hi Ho, which we all know, or Whistle While You Work. I thought those scenes were great. But yeah, it just, as the movie went on, it was like, I don't think I remember the end of Snow White. I'm not sure. It's been long enough where I don't remember if that was exactly how it happened or not. But it was like, I remember the beats of Snow White, but not everything about it. And this didn't make me want to go back and revisit it either. So it's like, I don't know. I'm with you, Todd, and if these aren't replacing the originals, then who are they for? Because it's clearly not for the people who love the originals, because it's like, well, unless you want to see a new take on it. But if the original's so classic, why do we do a new take on it? And again, this is speaking as someone who's enjoyed the majority of these live-action remakes. But something about this one just didn't quite connect the way I think they thought it would. And I think maybe being in the shadow of something as great as Wicked, which is how you do a musical, also this pales in comparison to that. And I don't know. Something about this, there wasn't the love in this that you would expect from Disney, especially when it's the first one that got them off the ground with the animated movies. And I don't know, I'm still going to look forward to whatever they're doing next, but I don't know why this one just didn't work. I can't quite put my finger on it, but I can't really recommend it either.
I think Lilo and Stitch is the only one so far that I've seen a trailer for and been like, I want to see that.
That looks fun.
But
and
also, that's not a musical. So if we see that movie and they turn it into a musical, spoiler alert, I'm going to have a problem with it.
I didn't get any hints that it was. I get what you're saying.
Marie?
Well, this was no Wicked.
Nope.
And it wasn't even trying, really. I thought the screenplay was pretty poor. I do agree that Rachel did a good job. Her voice was beautiful. I enjoyed some of the music. I feel like the music was the best part of the movie. That being said, I don't think it was a very good movie. I did enjoy some of the effects. Not so much the Seven Dwarfs, but the animals were cute.
Yeah.
And so Snow White and the animals were cute. Some of the music I did enjoy, and there was some talent there. Not by Gal Gadot, though. And everything else you guys have already said. I would say don't go see this movie unless you have a kid that really is dragging you there, because I was planning my next career move during this movie. I was pretty bored, and I love musicals.
Yep.
So that's about all I have to say.
This hardly ever happens in a movie for me, but I willingly shut my eyes to attempt to fall asleep.
Wow.
There was just a point where I was like,
Knowing you as long as I've known you, that is big.
like I could fall asleep and be okay right now. All right, Matt.
Well, I'm pretty much on the same page with you guys with most of this stuff. I did enjoy Rachel Zegler's performance, and her singing I thought was good. I thought the songs in general were poor, other than the ones that you already know and you're looking forward to hearing, except for the song Princess Problems, which is great.
I will agree. You know,
That was super cute.
For the new songs, that one was fun.
That
I
was
agree.
Yes.
That was super.
There was
cute.
some
I
whimsy
forgot
in
about
there was
that.
whimsy in that, and some like that felt like a Disney movie. That
Yes.
song.
But I
So,
thought they did a great job on the original songs.
Oh, I
yes,
definitely agree with that.
that's
There was
true.
some really nice harmony in there.
Yeah.
But you're right. Yeah.
Some of the big ensemble numbers were okay, but in general, I thought the new songs fell fairly flat. Though they were performed well, I just thought they weren't very good songs. As to why they're doing this, my conspiracy theory about all these live-action Disney movies is it's something to do with copyrights.
Yeah, I mean, I know
Oh,
like
that's
stuff comes
true.
up and you have to do something with it,
didn't think
or
of
else
that.
you will lose it.
Right. I think they worry about movies going to the public domain, so they're like recycling and remaking.
Well,
these.
yeah, because if that happens, then we're going to get all the horror movies are going to move over to Disney princesses, like they've been doing, like Winnie the Pooh and stuff now. Like,
Right. So, I don't know how true that is, but
No, but that's a fair point.
I think that may be something to do with it.
it sounds good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
good enough for a
Snow White
conspiracy.
itself can enter the public domain, the Brothers Grimm version, but like Disney can keep their tropes
Yeah.
by renewing the rights like that, and the stuff that they made Snow White into. Yeah, that might be. You might got something there, Matt.
Yeah. Well, the other things that I'll say about this, my main problem with this is it's way too long.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like-
they lengthen it for no reason.
It's longer than the original, and the stuff that they added in to make it longer than the original is not good.
Well, even like like most of the very first movies, like your 101 Dalmatians and your Snow
Yep.
Whites and stuff like that, were like an hour and 10 minutes. Like they were like
In and out.
quick to the point. Like,
Now that was a live action one that was good.
Now I will say,
agreed. Yeah.
The Little
Oh, I like
Mermaid
that.
is an example of one that they expanded, and I thought that it was better for it.
Yeah.
That one
I mean,
worked out because they gave it
I'll
some
agree
more
with
depth.
that.
some more
Yeah.
depth. But this one, Snow White didn't need depth. Snow White's a pretty simple story.
Yeah. There is a possibility that you can overcomplicate something.
Correct.
Yes. I thought especially the beginning of this movie, they expanded it way more than they needed to. I was like, come on, let's get to the dwarves
Yeah.
here. Let's go.
I mean, I know I already said it, but by the time the musical number ended, I was rooting for evil. Like, I was like, you guys are arrogant in your happiness right now.
Right. Yeah, and I wish that Gal Gadot had given us a better evil. I didn't think her performance was very good. So, and I'm a big fan of hers.
Yeah. It really felt like at times she was free to do what she wanted, but then at times like super constricted. Like you can't do much.
get what you're
Here's
saying.
your tight outfit
Right.
where like you are bound. Like you can't do a
You
whole
can't even
lot.
move, right?
Yeah. So go ahead and act your little heart out while you can't physically move around. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, getting down to the business here. How many crossbows would you give this movie? Because, my gosh, how much can you foreshadow a crossbow coming into this movie by introducing the character several times saying, I'm the master of a crossbow?
Yeah. Although he doesn't have a crossbow until
the crossbow comes in.
Until it comes into play.
But
Right.
my gosh, stellar writing there. You have a character who every time he opens his freaking mouth, oh, master of a crossbow. Well, do you think that's going to come into play later in the movie? I think so.
Yeah.
0 being the worst because then you have none and no crossbows, no defense, no nothing. 5 crossbows being the best because then you got 5 and you can defend your territory and your family if you need to.
That's right.
So
From all
attackers, or evil queens, or magical forests that make no sense. Whatever you need protection from.
right on.
Matt?
Well, I'm going to go with 1.9 crossbows out of 5. I didn't think this was very good. The points I'm giving are given for Rachel Zegler's performance and her singing, and the rest of it, the weird dwarfs and all the rest of the things. That's all you get. 1.9.
Marie?
I like even numbers, so I'm going to go with 2.0 for the exact same reasons as Matt stated.
Mm-hmm. Tim?
I'm a little bit higher, but still below average on this. Like I said, I feel like I've been the one of the few enjoying most of these remakes. And like I said, Rachel did a great job. Like the cinematography looked great. Like there were some things worth seeing. If you're a big fan of Snow White, you might want to see it just to compare it to, But all I can give it is a 2.2.
I feel like for every really good shot that I saw and was like, wow, cinematography's looking real good, there was another shot that I was like, what happened with this one, everyone? Like, what? And I feel like that's been coming up in movies a lot more lately, where like we'll just get a random shot, a couple of shots in a movie that just look obviously green screen and not good at all. And you're like, what happened with these? Like, where did the effort go?
To me, the dwarves felt like an AI version of, like an AI interpretation of what the 7 dwarves would look like.
I mean, you're not wrong at all. Yeah, I obviously I've shared my feelings on this movie. I'm going to land on a 1.5. I did not really enjoy myself too much besides hanging out with good friends, but I hit every note for me that tells me that this is not a movie I'm enjoying. I was sighing through the whole thing. I was rubbing my head. I had soda left over in my cup. Like, every marker that I have to tell myself whether or not I enjoyed myself was hit tonight of not enjoying myself. So
yeah, at one point you threw your head back and let out a huge sigh.
I was like, I was so done. I was like, oh my gosh. Instead of finishing a song, it would they would break them up a little bit, and then it would be like 5 minutes later and you're returning back to the song, and I was like, stop moving backwards. Like, let's just keep progressing. I'm never going to get home.
We can make it to the end.
Yeah.
It's painful.
There was a family who was sitting in our row who gave up.
Yeah.
Halfway through. I don't know if it's because they had little kids, and it wasn't really a little kid movie.
Not at all. Like,
there wasn't a lot for them to gravitate to.
Yeah. So, all right. Any final thoughts here?
not a fan.
All right.
Don't bother.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Go watch the original.
Well,
Yeah.
that's going to wrap it up then for this episode of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies, where we reviewed Snow White 2025 edition, and we gave it an average rating of 1.9 crossbows out of 5, which isn't good, and I think in general we'd say skip it, or wait at least until it's streaming on your own TV and you can watch it in your PJs.
Yeah, what did I see on Netflix today when I turned the TV on? A Den of Thieves 2. Like, I feel like that just got out of theaters last week.
Yeah, that
and it's
seems-
on Netflix right now.
Wow.
I was like, you really bobbed out really fast.
That went fast. Yeah. Yeah, Novocaine is another one that came out last week and had one showing today.
Yeah.
So.
It's on its way. Maybe it'll be on Netflix by tomorrow.
I will not watch it. Too gross.
Wow, that's saying something.
That is saying something for you.
Yeah, I don't like that kind of gross horror. Well, anyway, to the listeners, thank you for listening, downloading, subscribing, and please continue to do all those things. And we will see you next time.
Da 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 da
Da-da.
da da da.
Da-da-da.